So, hi everyone. Now we are going to talk about something which is cool and fancy, but sometimes also quite a bit burdensome. So, how to make privacy easy going with development and usage. So, a little bit of background. Is it working here? Maybe? Okay, let's be practical. Okay. Let's start from what's happening currently. No. Sorry for that. Okay. Why is it not working? Okay. Let's retry. So let's start from the market. We see why Ethereum should care about modular privacy. Well, we see that Ethereum is probably dominating the RWA space by numbers. A lot of institutions are going into testing stablecoin issuance, debt issuance, share issuance, and so on. At the same time, privacy has been expressed as one of the core features for Ethereum. We have seen a building of solution for goods like privacy pool, trying to create a more compliance way of running the operations on Ethereum. At the same time, Ethereum holds the widespread adoption of community development with many proposals from many, many years, which of course provide history in protocols development that others won't offer at the moment. I'm having issue with the presentation. I'm sorry. It's okay. So in the market, we generally have a current friction, which is on one side, user wants to do more things on chain in the same block space. This requires multiple execution, and this is what has led, for instance, a proposal like EAP 7702 to get adopted into Pectra. At the same time, the enterprise development requires a higher level of compliance for the operations, whether it's from simply data management perspective or whether it requires also additional regulation, like, for example, in the ESG space or in the financial space. So the background about this research was trying to find a way to offer a balance between these two tension factors, creating an element that can allow accounts to work in an efficient way, at the same time taking care about how the data is originated, processed throughout the use case. So with a modular approach, we see the trend of building use cases through smart contracts a little bit like a Lego, where from a rational perspective, the account logic is separated between the validation and the execution, but also at the same time, you can allow the checking of different functions before the execution on chain. At the same time, allocating specific cryptographic features to specific module, we can combine the different function of different cryptographic techniques to allow a more compliant data management. So what are we talking about in terms of reference standards? When we are taking care about building compliant solution, we need to take care about essentially three things: trust, privacy, and UX. Trust, meaning identity. And in this context, we see, of course, a specific reference to ERC 7812, which offer the opportunity of anchoring an on-chain registry with by ZK on-chain attestation. The second pillar we have here is the account, the contact account setup, which, of course, born in with the original 4337 proposal, has evolved into a modular setting, which also provide that capability of calling different functions before executing. And the third pillar is actually what I call a compliance glue, because it actually allows a standardized way to check smart contract signature, which in the context, whether it's coming from the contract account or for user EOA, it's very important to streamline the process overall. So from user perspective, that's to recall a previous statement. We are offering three main core: identity through on-chain attestation, identity on-chain that can be linked also to off-chain data repository, national IDs, off-chain governmental digital credentials. Privacy by zero-knowledge technology, which compress and minimize the data which is posted on-chain, or through homomorphic encryption, which actually privately run the specific use case for the user, and then user experience with allowing essentially batching of different execution in one single time. Why user need this? Because essentially they can do many things within the same user experience time. Why? Because enterprise may offer great benefits to that in terms of compliance with data management rules, compliance with potential financial requirements, not only in the onboarding of the user, but also in terms of allowing secondary transfer of asset, allowing burning of new asset out of a specific on-chain call, or a minting a specific. And from data perspective, these, of course, provide an overall compliance of not only the data origination, but also the data process overall, at least in the execution layer. This project was built by a couple of researchers across different communities. I was part of that group of researchers. And we are currently trying to define a set of use cases which could fit that account infrastructure, and see whether there's an opportunity to further implement the development overall. So, but before that, let's try to understand how a potential user flow would look like. So the user flow starts with the user having his own off-chain credential and using that off-chain credential to self-prove an on-chain attestation about the ownership of that EOA. And with that authentication, the user is allowed to compute a specific request in form of messages through an application infrastructure, which can require the minting or trading of different assets. And this message will be defined as a user operation, which will then fall into a mempool and then will trigger the smart contract account to run the validation loop, to generate the nonce and estimating the gas fees before actually making a proper verification of the zero-knowledge proof related to the user signature, and run a private computation for executing the user operations on-chain. That will be done finally by the contract entry point. In that context, which may be some of the use cases that we envision having more potential. The first one is to run a fully confidential voting within DAOs. In this context, we have many DAOs which require an anti-Sybil solution to essentially determine that a member of the DAO was eligible to vote, and may find useful running private computation over the voting balance that each user has. So in that context, on-chain attestation can be used as a way to reference the DAO membership of the user, and voting on-chain governance framework can run over FHE-AVM to execute through the entry point the different proposal which meet the threshold once it has aggregated all the voting power of the users who vote. A second use case that we see very interesting is, we call it regulatory compliance for DeFi trading. We call it DeFi trading because this infrastructure require an EOA to authenticate the user itself, and of course a trading account which takes leverage of batching capability by contract accounts and executes the trading, the different trading requirements requested by the user on chain. In this context, for instance, the credential can be used not only to prove the membership of the user to a specific trading app, but also to certify specific compliance requirements which are needed for trading in some environments. And the big impact that we see from that use case is that in this context, we find a balance between complying with regulation and data management and executing. The third solution that we see potentially a little bit more into the manufacturing and enterprise space is more related to supply chain and procurement process. So in this context, we use a on-chain commitment by ZK proof to determine the proof of correctness of different supply chain processes executed by different parties. And then we use this buyer account to essentially select from a private pseudonymous bidding the one which is selected with the best offer and execute the awards to that bidding in a private state through a trace FHE-AVM. So in that context, we create an infrastructure that protects sensitive data and still preserving a public competitive environment where everyone can compete with the same rules. So again, sorry. In the last slide, I wanted to show you a short recap about the presentation. Essentially, what we are combining here, privacy-preserving features and into a new way of constructing account infrastructure. Why we believe that is so powerful? Because including these privacy features into a modular approach, we can actually combine and tailor-made the different functions that are called by the module each time and for each user request or need. This can allow to build an infrastructure which can be privacy preserving, but yet flexible to address different stakeholder needs. Retail investor and institutional investors, small supplier and big buyers. This is just to give an example. So that's the reason why we believe it's so powerful. How is possible? By these three main features. Contract accounts, which aggregates by user operation different execution in the same block. Zero-knowledge cryptography, which compress the amount of data which is stored on-chain, complying with data minimization provided by GDPR, and providing a first source of pseudonymity in a public network, and fully homomorphic encryption, which actually allow that user operation that has been generated by after authenticating the on-chain attestation in a private environment while still preserving a public network. So that's all. I leave it up to you if you have questions.
So if you guys have any questions, so feel free to ask. Okay.
There's one.
Just a quick one.
Yeah.
Where we are now?
We are actually, we are a team of 5 people, 3 developers, myself, and in the project development phase. Yeah, we are, let's say we are exited the research phase. We have started building this with our own support. And we are actively looking for funding and grants to support these in different ecosystems, because we actually believe that this is a great tool that can help Ethereum, but also different layer 2 clients to create a set of practice that at account level make the services much more compliant, still in an interoperable way. So yeah, we are actually in, I think that slide was very helpful. I'm sorry, with the pointer it's a bit difficult, but we are actually in the middle between the research and the development phase. We just started the development. We have some discussion for instance, confidential voting and trading. And we are scoping this third use case at the same time. But we see also trends, and this more broadly, many L2 coming up with proposal of fully homomorphic EVM or ERC20 proposals, so on. These combined with the zero-knowledge snarkification process of execution layer in Ethereum, like there are different pieces of the puzzle that are coming together, which says that, okay, this is something that likely is going to happen sometime in the future.
Can you, how far can you go with current state of Ethereum without further update, without further ERCs?
No, this is something that is achievable right now. Okay. This is something which is achievable right now. It can be further scale with, I believe, improvements overall, but this is something that is has been considered based on the stack which is now.
So anyone else with a question? Feel free to ask. Please don't be shy. Okay, so if no one is having any questions, so I have one question. So like having different hats and different kind of skills, so how exactly it is helping you throughout your journey? And apart from that, what are the 3 key takeaways that you can tell us from these various roles?
Well, I would say that, well, first of all, personally I'm very curious, so I like to study and research a lot. And in this context, I'm really trying to get the people who do the development together and try to help them to, within the focus of a specific use case, or trying to understand which kind of solution may fit the specific needs that needs to be solved. So it's a little bit more project management for the time, because I'm not, I don't have an engineering background. But yeah, I think the main 3 takeaways that I can tell, it's probably related to the last slide. So these are capabilities that in general I and together we see to be needed for on-chain services in the future. And we wanted to try to conglomerate those into a one solution that can be built in the moment time, and so in that context offering innovation to the community.
Okay, thanks a lot, and I wish you a great success in your journey.
Thank you.